G'day. Just a little extra video. In my sort of going offline video, I said I'd sort of given you everything. And this one little area, I talked about therapy in that video, and I haven't spoken a lot about that. So, and the Gabor Mate videos do. But I thought one thing I haven't spoken about is meditation as therapy and how that works. And that can be very powerful. Can be. I think therapy and meditation coupled together is fantastic, but meditation by itself can work in the same way. And one way it's very powerful is that it's that, like I've talked about, not reacting training, not jumping to the addiction, not jumping to the distraction. So if we sit in meditation, we're not reacting, and we're creating the habit of not reacting. So if you do enough meditation, and this is where I think you got to move into, if you're going to use your meditation as a kind of therapist, so you're using yourself as a therapist, but really, so what you're doing is I think you need to do lots of time. So the Vipassana guys do 2 hours a day. Ian Gawler and the around cancer and health, they do 3 hours a day. And I would suggest at least 1 hour a day, like at least half an hour a day. I think at least half an hour a day. And what you're doing is you're practicing, at the very least, you're practicing not reacting for half an hour or hours every day, and you're creating the habit and the practice of not reacting. And what will happen is in your silent meditation, when you're just being effortless and you're not engaging in, so what's going to happen? You're going to sitting in your meditation, all of your shit will come up. Everything, all of your difficult relationships, your family stuff, your childhood stuff, it'll all come up, and you're going to just sit with that and bear witness to it and let it kind of come out. But you're not going to react. You're going to practice not reacting. And the thing about the addiction and distractions is that you have an uncomfortable feeling. It all begins in sensation. And then you translate that into, you're a bit uncomfortable, and you jump to your addiction or your distraction. And so practices like the Vipassana, 2 hours a day, sitting there for 2 hours a day, not reacting, is you creating a habit of not reacting. And this will actually help you with your feelings, because you learn to sit with your feelings and thoughts and not react. Most of the time, our response to things is an overreaction. Or it's like Gabor Mate talks about, you have a creative adaptation when you're young to some difficult traumatic situation, and then you're sort of still doing the same adaptation as an adult, even though it's not actually applicable to the situation you're in as an adult. You're still jumping to the thing, and it begins as sensation. So the meditation as a therapist, you're sitting with and bearing witness to those uncomfortable feelings and pain, and the pain and the trauma, and you're sitting with it like a mountain. And this is incredibly powerful because you're always jumping to the distraction. So if you can just sit for an hour a day with those uncomfortable feelings and not react, that's difficult. But the benefit is huge because you're training yourself not to react. And you're also getting the benefit of sitting with what is. You're starting to notice actually the reality around you, not living in your thoughts and conceptions and constructions, but coming to the here and now and the reality of what's actually going on. Often what's going on is much less than you think. And that's really great. And it also, an issue with therapy can be, if you don't have a really good therapist, it can kind of solidify the story and kind of re-traumatize sometimes. The thing about therapy, I think you got to go the long haul. If you're going to work your shit out with therapy, you got to go, just commit to years, Just say, yeah, weekly for 5 years, or weekly for, fortnightly for 10 years or something. I'm not joking. And what you do in moving, and the benefit of therapy is that you can kind of just meticulously work through the dynamics that you're having difficulty with, and you're gonna analyze your relationship with your mum, with your dad, with your siblings, with key events in your life, and you just meticulously go through all of them. Good therapists will help you notice where the emotional sticking points are, and it'll be like an onion, and you'll have to go. You'll start on the sort of outside, and you work your way in, and all these things meticulously over years and years. Massive job. So it's like saying, to do the therapeutic journey, I think powerfully would be to you make a commitment, like maybe weekly for 3 years. Just say, yep, 3 years. I'm going to spend $100 a week for 3 years. What's that? That's like 15 grand, $15,000 investment. And you, 15, sorry, my maths isn't great, 15 something, 15,600 maybe. And see long term. So two very different. You do have to get I think both are fantastic, coupled together, fantastic. I think the ultimate truth, I think the meditation points to this realignment of seeing who you are as that natural, effortless state, conscious awareness, just being able to abide as yourself in the here and now, incredibly powerful. Moving away from the past and the future, living in the moment, less bias, less prejudice, less kind of habitual reactivity is hugely beneficial. And I would probably put meditation a little bit ahead of therapy, but we live in such a word-based culture and the story about the construct of our lives and our families and stuff, that it's good to work through that. But I wouldn't do that superficially. If you do therapy, do 3 years plus. Meditation, the same way. If you're going to use meditation as a kind of therapist, and maybe it's I've been advocating this sort of just noticing, but I think there's a huge amount of merit to just doing an hour a day. That could be really useful. And if you're interested in doing that, I could maybe run an hour a day session at my house. But I think the only time to do it would be early in the morning. I'd only have the time to have to be 5:30 every day or something, 5 o'clock every day. If there was a group of people who wanted to do that, and we're kind of committed to it. So you only missed a few days here and there over a year or something. You turned up, for at least most days. Like you missed 1 in 10 or something. That would be I don't know. Well, everything 5 days a week or something. Every day would be the best. So I would do that if there was a group. If 5 people approached me and said, "Oh, we want to do an hour of meditation every morning at 5 o'clock," I would do that. Anyway, so I have that explained. I didn't, so that's how the therapy works, or using meditation as your therapist. My issues are, because I talked about me being in therapy, and maybe people are curious about that. I've had really stock standard childhood stuff. Nothing very terrible happened to me. I think some events occurred that were bad timing from a little developing kid. And I work through that really, and sometimes the trauma. Everyone has some sort of trauma, and it's actually, in some ways, it's just a part of being a human, and it's a gift. Everyone has sort of something that happens to them, and you realise that that's a vehicle to go deeper and learn deeply about yourself and the world. All right, thanks. And also, some people seem to be worried that the Effortless Society is going to end. It's not. It's just the YouTube videos. All right. Thank you.